Many technologies and systems today unintentionally perpetuate biases, often reinforcing inequities that disadvantage marginalized or underserved communities. At the heart of creating fair systems lies equity-centered design, a framework that supports innovation practice in the development of processes and products. It deliberately incorporates the voices and needs of diverse populations, especially those who have been historically marginalized or underserved. This approach fosters fairness and inclusion from the start of the design process, with a proactive approach in identifying and eliminating biases that could perpetuate inequity. These design principles are necessary because inequities aren't isolated events, but rather parts of ongoing cycles of harm rooted in systemic oppression. This means that certain groups are regularly disadvantaged or systemically oppressed because of their gender, race, sexual orientation, or other identity factors, while others benefit continuously. So, what is systemic oppression? It is institutionalized discrimination that benefits certain groups while disadvantaging others based on race, gender, sexual orientation, or socioeconomic status. Imagine it like a relay race, where some teams start halfway down the track with top-notch gear, while others face hurdles from the starting line. This unequal setup impacts everything from housing and education to policing and healthcare. For example, in the United States criminal justice system, people of color are disproportionately stopped, searched, and incarcerated compared to white individuals. These disparities are embedded in the system, requiring broad societal changes from laws to individual behaviors to break the cycle of inequality. Now that we have seen the broader systemic issues, let's focus on how design practices can incorporate equity. To drive innovation, we use the equity X design, pronounced equity by design. This method integrates racial equity with design thinking principles. It is based on 3 core beliefs and 5 design principles that guide equitable design. So let's begin with the 3 core beliefs. First, C. Recognize that our history is directly linked to current challenges. Second, be seen, ensuring diverse voices are included in the design process. And third, foresee, taking responsibility to actively shape the future we want. Now, let us look at the 5 equity by design principles using examples from the development of artificial intelligence, or AI-driven products. The first principle, design at margins, focuses on creating products and services for marginalized communities, those who are often most affected by unfair treatment in society. It is about involving them directly in the design process so that their needs and perspectives shape the final outcome. An example would be the use of diverse datasets in facial recognition systems to prevent bias against darker-skinned individuals. Next, start with self. Asks us to understand our own biases and assumptions. Everyone has them, and they can influence how we solve problems, often without us even realizing it. Recognizing these mental patterns helps us make more objective and fair decisions. An example would be reflecting on biases in artificial intelligence hiring tools to make them more inclusive. Seed power follows by emphasizing that underrepresented people are part of the design process. It's crucial to listen to them and empower them. This means making sure they can speak up about injustices without fear and have a real influence on the decisions being made. An example would be to involve diverse linguistic groups in developing voice recognition software. With Make the Invisible Visible, we point out and challenge the often unseen norms and practices that benefit some groups at the expense of others. It is about exposing these unfair advantages so they can be addressed. For example, highlighting Western-centric data in artificial intelligence models to address disparities. Finally, Speak to the Future encourages us to think about the future in a way that reflects the changes we want to see. For example, redefining innovation to prioritize the reduction of racism and setting meaningful goals. By integrating these equity design core beliefs and principles into our innovation practice, we can actively dismantle systemic biases, build more inclusive solutions, and contribute to a more equitable future. Be sure to also review the module materials on bias and artificial intelligence. You are now ready to move on to the case study, where you can apply these concepts to demonstrate your understanding of equity by design principles.